maybe reading too much into what we saw out there or whatever, at least maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. It looked like, I know typically on the PK, Lindgren is with Trouba and Miller is with Fox, so is that why in the following drill they were together, or is there a change possibly there?
No, I don't think there are any changes.
Okay.
Jerseys, colors.
Yeah. You've talked a little bit about wanting to stick with what worked and what got you here, specifically on the D pairs, because you've had guys like Jones step in and do really well. You went out and got Chad, who stepped in for you guys, and you've talked about how well that they performed. But I mean, knowing what you have with the Lindgren-Fox pair, with the Miller-Trouba pair, I mean, is that just something where you're so comfortable with that, and looking ahead, that's what you want?
I don't want to ever say anything like bring out your pen and write it down. So, but we've found success, and we've needed our entire group, and so nothing's going to change with regard to that. That being said, there's been different players in different places throughout the course of the year, but I haven't broken up the Trocheck line. It's just been that good all year. There's no reason for me to make any moves there, and so it stays intact. But there's always possibility of change inside of a game, or going into a game, or going into a series based on what you think you might need in order to be successful. But right now, I think it's been good that there's been a sense of just quiet with regard to the lineup and the movement that comes with that. Guys have gotten used to each other, familiar with each other, and been able to establish some chemistry with each other, with the exception of the odd change and injury. It's been pretty much status quo.
The Miller-Schneider pair seemed to work really well.
Yeah.
Did you always have it in your mind, though, that would be Trouba's spot when he came back? And then I guess, do you feel now, if you need to make a switch, that that's something that you now have more information about and would possibly consider if the situation called for it?
I think that our defensemen can be interchangeable. I mean, Gustafson's played with Fox, and their numbers are fantastic. They could be the best on the team. But I don't know if I'm going to make that switch or willing to make that switch. And I don't want to talk about hypotheticals of down the road. Will I do this or will I do that? Will not do that. I know what the D pairs, for the most part, have been for the year. I know what they're going to be tonight. I can't guarantee anything with regard to, a round in the playoff or a game in the playoffs or the last game of the year. That's down the road. But I know where we've been. I know where I'm at tonight, and I know what I'm comfortable with.
When you set your lines early in the year, and you had Hedel with Panarin, Lafreniere, and Trocheck on the other line, you obviously did that with a purpose. When Phil went out and Trocheck went up, could you have envisioned it working as well as it has?
I mean, you like to think and hope that it's going to be a successful line, and you got to remember too, at the beginning of the year, we're in a not a tryout period, but like you're trying things and you're seeing what's working and what's not working. And with Phil in that spot, that line had some good numbers and some good chemistry. The fact that Phil was gone, removed, and we needed somebody to step up into that role, Troch has come in and he's played incredible. All of those players are a little bit different, but Troch is a glue guy, I feel like, in the middle that it really complements the way both of those players play and the way that they think. And he has the grit to do it, he has the hockey IQ to do it, and he has the skill level to do it to help make that line successful. And so that line, for me, like I said, regardless of who's on earth, has been and is today, and most likely is going to stay that way.
With Vincent, we talked about getting to know guys. You've certainly coached against a guy like that who's been in the league a long time, but did you know maybe that he had this kind of skill level? He has all the other intangibles to be a well-rounded center, but
I think exactly the way you said it. When you're coaching against him, you can see that he's a tenacious player, that he's smart, he's a good two-way centerman. You see his skill level. I think that you grow to appreciate it more when you work with him on a daily basis, and you don't just see him play maybe 2 or 3 games against you, but you get to see him play getting to be 82 games for you, and I think you appreciate it more and you realize it more.
You comment on the way your team has found different ways to win games.
Sorry, I missed the kind of comment. I'm sorry. I think that's any given day, any given night. You know, like I said, you sit there and you see a fire and you work to put that fire out, and that's because there's other things that are operating smoothly. So you spend some time over here, and you get that quieted down, and then all of a sudden there's a little pop-up fire over here that starts to get bigger, and you're like, okay, now we got to get over and manage this one here. And so it's never been just we've been able to do in this. I think that you're just constantly trying to get better in all areas, and the ones that are making noise that you don't want, you try to give your attention to that. But recently for me, I think we've done, last game's maybe a little bit of an outlier, but we've done a pretty good job defensively. And so for me, that's going to be huge going into the playoffs.
Last week when I asked you about Adam Fox, you said his game in the last 20, 30 games has really taken off. He's shooting the puck more in those 20 and 30 games too. The numbers show that his goals have gone up. It's not a coincidence that. What do you think shooting the puck more, maybe having more that decisiveness with it, has done for his game overall? So
the decisiveness to shoot the puck, I think, is just a willingness to do it. I think some guys are more willing to bring the puck to the net, and then others are always looking to pass. And that's kind of built into who you are as a player. I would love to see us with a mindset of we're going to shoot the puck, not to the point where we're not looking to make plays too. I think it's a combination of both. The decisiveness, not only for me, when you talk about Adam, is not just about shooting the puck. It's about his playmaking. It's about his breakouts. It's about his skating and attacking open ice. Last time we played Pittsburgh, he was kind of going over it. He had just an unbelievable goal where he attacked the ice first. It wasn't about just getting a shot from the point, walking in and shooting it. He had to get a play on the rush on the backside, and he had to make a hard move to the middle, put it to his backhand. So there was more to it, and that decisiveness inside of his offensive instincts, that's been really good. His defense has been excellent as well. And so it just seems a little, he seems like more on point. Again, he was coming off of a pretty substantial injury too, and I do think that it takes a minute to get up to speed, to get where you want to be. And it's towards the end of the season here. I can't help but think that factors into it as well.
Do you also think that he's played with more of an edge the last, whatever it is, and that's been a trait that your team has taken on the last
I do
6
think,
weeks?
I do think that you're right about that. Sometimes when you think about an edge, you think about it as, well, I've got to go and deliver a body check that puts you 3 rows into the stands. And that's not what the edge is about. The edge is about the puck battle between you and somebody else and how quick you get there, and then you're fighting inside of that battle. And it goes back to the decisiveness, because I did mention defense when you were talking about offense. That edge to get to the battle, to win the puck battles, to get positioning, has been really clear for him and for our team.
With Wenberg, you said a couple of days ago that he was a good pickup for you guys and stuff. But and with all the things that he's given you, I'm wondering if you see a particular chemistry between he and Capo, and if the fact that they're both European may have a similarity or something. What would bring that about?
I think the line at times, and it's moved around. Sometimes Will's been up there, sometimes Johnny's been there. I think that they've been really good. So he's come in for me, and he's given us a natural sentiment. It's, in my opinion, is a really good two-way sentiment. He skates really well. He thinks the game really well. I do think that he's starting to establish some chemistry. There's been a lot of games where their numbers have been excellent. They're producing some offense, producing some points, scoring some big goals for us. And I think you need that depth in you can't just count on one line or 2 lines. When you get the depth and that balance of an attack, I think he helps solidify that by having him with Capo and with whoever that other winger might be.
I talked to him just now, and I asked him, I said, you don't look like you're trying to shoot the puck a lot, and he did admit that is something that he is primarily a pass first guy, right. And he probably wants to shoot or learn to shoot the puck more stuff. Would you prefer
it goes back to the question. I would like that, sure. But some guys are just built differently. They see it and they want to make that play. And I believe there's a fine line there. I do think that attack on the net is really important, but also when you have that attack on the net and then you start to get your head up and you start to make the plays that you need to play, then you become really dangerous.